You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Friday, February 15th, 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story of the day is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Friday. First thing to know is U.S.-China trade talks drag on. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said Friday that trade talks between Washington and Beijing had been productive, but provided no details apart from the description. As high-level talks wound up in Beijing, several media reports cited sources that said little progress had been made on major issues that could pave the way for a meeting between the two countries. Having finished discussions with the Chinese Vice Premier Liu He, the New York Times reported that Mnuchin and U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping later on Friday. Speculation pointed to the possibility that the three may discuss holding a summit between Xi and U.S. President Donald Trump in the near future. Separately, the South China Morning Post reported that high-level trade talks would continue in Washington next week. The second thing to know today is U.S. stocks are mixed as economic weaknesses weigh. Global stocks showed mixed signs on Friday as the reported lack of progress in the U.S.-China trade talks weighed and weak Chinese data added to disappointing U.S. retail sales released a day earlier. Asian stocks bore the brunt of the sell-off as weak Chinese inflation data increased concern over deflationary pressures in the world's second-largest economy. China's consumer price inflation unexpectedly slowed, while factory gate inflation hit its weakest level since September 2016. China's Shanghai Composite closed down 1.4%, while Japan's Nikkei 225 ended 1.2% lower. Elsewhere, European bourses struggled to remain afloat in morning trade, but gains in the region's telecoms and industrials helped push indices higher by midday in the old continent. Germany's DAX trailed its peers as the country's IFO Institute warned that proposed U.S. auto tariffs could cut German car exports in half. U.S. futures pointed to a flat open as investors held out after the largest drop in retail sales in 9 years. The third thing to know today is U.S. consumer confidence is in focus after retail sales plunged. After Thursday's surprise tumble for retail sales for December, the market will be anxious to receive the latest consumer confidence figures. The University of Michigan will release its preliminary measure of its February Consumer Sentiment Index at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Consumer sentiment is expected to improve, recovering from the near two-year low caused largely by the partial government shutdown. The reading takes on particular significance after data showed Thursday that retail sales, equivalent to approximately 70% of the American economy, registered their largest decline in 9 years. Ahead of the confidence survey, the New York Fed will issue its measure of manufacturing in the New York region at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. The fourth thing to note today is Pepsi and Deere step up on the calendar for earnings. Earnings will remain in the spotlight on Friday, as PepsiCo and Deere take the spotlight ahead of the open in the latest string of results for the fourth quarter reporting period. Pepsi raised its dividend, but forecast a 1% drop in underlying earnings this year before a rebound in 2020. With 386 of the S&P 500 firms having already reported earnings, analysis at the Earnings Scout warned that beat rates are below normal as growth has slowed and companies overall are lowering their guidance. Chip makers reporting after Thursday's close gave mixed signals. Shares of Nvidia soared 5% in pre-market trade Friday as investors celebrated a profit beat and its full-year sales outlook topped consensus. But Applied Materials had fallen around 1.5% and extended trading as its guidance for current quarter profits missed the estimates. And the fifth thing to know today is Trump to declare a national emergency. Trump is scheduled to speak at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Friday, where White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders confirmed he would sign legislation to avoid a government shutdown and would also declare a national emergency in order to build a southern border wall with Mexico. An emergency declaration would allow Trump to redirect funds for the wall, which were not included in the spending bill approved by Congress. Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters Thursday that she was reviewing her options in hopes of filing a legal challenge to Trump's declaration of national emergency. This is not an emergency, and the president's fear-mongering doesn't make it one, she explained in a joint statement with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Our second story today is from MarketWatch.com. Empire State Manufacturing Index rebounds modestly in February. The Empire State Manufacturing Index rebounded in February after hitting its lowest level of the year. The index rose 4.9 points to 8.8 in February, the New York Fed said on Friday. Economists had expected a reading of 7.6, according to a survey by Econoday. Any reading above zero indicates improving conditions. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been your Options News Rundown. Before we part, we have a special announcement at Market Taker Mentoring. We will be announcing all the details about this year's MTM Options Training Retreat. The Options Training Retreat will be this summer, July 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's our biggest in-person event of the year, and we're excited to tell you all about it. We're holding a special informational webinar tomorrow, Saturday, February 16th, and that will be at 10 a.m. Central Time. You can register to learn about the retreat at our informational webinar by going to markettaker.com/retreat. That's market, like stock market, taker, like you take something, 2 T's in a row, markettaker.com/retreat. Trade well and have a nice weekend.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.